Hello class, this video is the test review for Unit 4 test. Okay, let's get started. Question 1. The expression 1 over x to the third power, and then you raise it to the second power, is equivalent to what? First of all, every time you see the fraction, please remember to yourself, you can write it as a negative exponent. Okay, so that is same thing as x to the power of negative third. Okay, so this is a formula. 1 over x to the nth power is equal to x to the power of negative n. Okay, so that means for this part, right, we can replace it with x with next to the x to the negative third, negative 3 power, and then square. Okay, from here, another rules, exponent rule you need to remember. When you have a power, okay, this is power n, you raise it to another power, n's power, that will give you m times n as exponent, and you keep the base. All right, so from here, that you can write it as x to the, you are multiplying those two exponents, negative 3 times 2, it will give you negative 6. So that is our answer. Okay, next one. The second question, the exponential function y equal to 16 times 2 to the power of x. We need to find out which one is the equivalent equation. So if you look at this equation here for 16, noticing those two is in the different formats. This is an exponent, right? This is power. This is just a regular constant, the number. We can rewrite 16. Okay, think about the base 2. You can write it as 2 to the 4th power. Okay, now you have 2 to the 4th power to replace 16. And let's just bring down the other half, which is 2 to the x power. And this is product rule. Okay, when you have 2 power with the same base, multiplying, you keep the base, you add the exponent. So here, you keep the base 2, you add the exponent for plus x, and or you can write it as, doesn't matter if you switch for an x, you can have x in the front, it doesn't really matter. So that is our choice. Okay, that's one. All right, we need to rewrite the expression a to the power of a fraction, which is 5/2. This is something you need to remember. Okay, a to a power of fraction, the denominator is a root. The numerator is a power. Okay, so this you can write it as a radical form, a to the n power, and you take the n roots. Please remember that. So let's just copy down this expression. Okay, once again, m is the power, so 5 is a power, 2 is the roots. All right, so when you rewrite it as a radical form, it will become, you keep the base a, you raise it to the power 5, and you take a square root. However, if you look at the choices, you don't see anything like this. But it doesn't mean there's something wrong. No. For choice A, actually, it's the same thing as having a 2 outside of the radical form, the radical sign. It's not showing 2, but we know this is a square root. Okay, so this is our answer. Next one. Okay, question 4. First of all, let's review what exponential function look like. Fx or y, doesn't matter, equal to a times b, and you raise it to the power of x. Okay, all right, so a tell us the y-intercept. Why? Because x equals to 0. You raise b to 0, it will give you 1. So the y-intercept is a. Alright, so keep in mind this is a. The b, this part, the base, tells you how the graph look like. Okay, if b is greater than 1, then it's gonna be graph like this. Okay, that means it's increasing. If b is less than 1, the graph will look like this. Right, it's not perfect, but you know, it's like a curve that is decreasing. Okay, so if you look at all those choices, in order to match the graph, a needs to be less than 5, isn't it? Because a is underneath 5. b, since it's decreasing, so b needs to be less than 1. So which one fits our description here? Only second one. In this case, a equal to 3, which is less than 5, and b equal to 0.75, which is less than 1. So it's the second one is our choice. Okay, next one. So this one actually requires a lot of works, but it's okay, we'll do this step by step. Once again, this is an exponential function. It followed the format y equal to a times b, you raise it to the power of x. Alright, so we need to find out the value of b. Okay, how? Exactly. What do we need? In order to find out b and a, we need two quantities, which is x and y. Luckily, we have the table here. It provides more than one pairs, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can take any two pairs. I'm gonna take the first two. All right, so the first pair, it tells us x equal to 2, y equal to 71. So we can create an equation using the x and y, right? Go to the equation. So it'll be 71, substitute y with 71. Substitute, we don't know a and b, so leave it alone. Substitute x with 2. Okay, so we have our first equation. Okay, the second equation, we can use the second order pair. Of course, you can use third, fourth, the fifth. Doesn't matter which one you are using. It would not change the answer. So once again, we have the x, which is 5. And we have a y, which is 102. Now, once again, using this equation, we're going to create 102 equal to a times b, and you raise it to the 5th power because x equals to 5. All right, this is our second equation. So we're going to use those two equations to solve for a and b. In this case, we don't even need to know a. We just need b. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We need to cancel one of the variable. We have a two variable, right? We have a two unknown, which are a and b. So we need to cancel out one. How? We can combine those two equation by doing the division. I'm gonna take equation 2. I'm going to divide it by equation 1. Well, you can do 1 over 2 or 2 over 1. It doesn't really matter. The reason I put the 2 on the top because I see a bigger number, right? That is easier for me. All right. So now that means the left side, the right side, the left side 102 divided by left side of the equation 171. still equal to the right side, which is a times b to the power of fifth power over what? Over the right side of 1, right? This is how you divide a function. You divide equation. You divide left side to the left side, right side by the right side. Okay. You have a times b squared. Now you can see we can actually cancel out a. Can we? Of course. A divided by a, it becomes 1. So you have 102 over 71. And the other side, here, this part, ladies and gentlemen, you can simplify it. You keep the base. This is quotient rule. You subtract the exponent. So 5 minus 2 will give you p to the third power. Okay, up to here, you may wonder, hey, how can I find b? All right, so here is what you need to do. You see the cube, right? You see the power is 3. You can take a cube root. Be fair, you need to do the same thing to the right side. Because cube root and cube, they actually cancel out each other. By doing that, you are able to get b, just b, nothing else. Okay, for this part, you're going to enter into your calculator. So there's a button called math on your calculator. You press math and you press 4. And then you're going to see the 4, actually the bottom, the key 4 is for the cube root. Okay, and you just enter the whole fraction, 102, cube root of 102 divided by 71, and you should be getting something like a 1.12 something. And you run it out to the hundreds, and that is our first choice. Okay, now sometimes the question is asking for A. So in order to find out A, we already done with this question, but in our test, you're gonna have a short response. You need to go back to one of the equation. Let's say you can take this one. Let me highlight it. You can take this one and use it to figure out A. How? Because your B is 1.13, right? So you can substitute B. Okay, let's say you take a 1.13, you are solving for A. Okay, this is how you find A. Now, of course, take a square first and divide by both sides by this square. All right, because on the test, you need to create an equation. You need to find out both A and B, and then put them together, whatever you got A, whatever you got B, and then just substitute them, and then you raise b to the power of x. Okay. Next one. Okay. Question 6. You have different format of the number as a base. So here's what you need to do. You are going to change 0.5 into a fraction, which is half. Okay, why? Because it will be easier if you have half, you can rewrite it as a negative exponent. So half, remember there's an invisible 1 here, you can write it as 2 to the negative 1. Once again, this is a negative exponent. Whatever 1 over x to the nth power, you can write it x to negative n. Okay? Alright, so now you can just replace 0.5 by 2 to the first power. And then you have a 3x plus 2 equal to. Okay, now, in order to solve exponential equation, we want to make sure both sides have the same base. So the ideal base here is 2, okay, because we can rewrite 8. So let's rewrite 8. The 8, you can write it as 2 to the third power. Okay, from there, you're going to using the power rule. You multiply those two exponents. Okay, on the other side, you have a 3, 5x minus 4. Alright, so you still have the same base, which is 2. Now, this is a common base method. So the